Day by day, mutant tropical growths began to spread across the Richmond Peninsula like the sprouting tendrils of a giant honey fungus. It was here that as a girl, Marie would search the smothered oaks and seas of fronded ferns for the eggs of exotic birds and the shallow nests of sleeping lizards. Although much of the peninsula had always been public parkland, it seemed to Marie that the winding pathways and leafy glades were all part of her secret garden, and that the flora and fauna grew and flourished for her alone. So it was with tender care that she watched the plants transform and the creatures mutate in response to the increased radiation. For Marie it was a magical time. Defying all predictions, the tropical zone had reached Europe in just a few years, and the temperature and water levels were rising daily. But it didn't matter to Marie that London was now beneath the swollen Thames, for here on the peninsula, high above river level, the landscape was blossoming as the refuge for strange new life forms. Although she didn't realise it at the time, Marie was a lonely child. A passing stranger might have thought she was the ghost of some murdered child, so pale was her skin. Yet Marie felt she was as dark as the shadows beneath the dripping leaves, her mind brimful with the slowly moving shapes, an organic soup of new growth. She had almost forgotten her parents, who some years before had seemingly disappeared into the hologram suite of their villa and never returned. Her virtual teachers and online friends only existed in cyberspace. She had never actually met any of them in the flesh. So for Marie, life was something that went on around her and beyond her. She was frustratingly detached from it, watching it change and evolve, as though she was some Olympian goddess peering down from behind the clouds. Yet she yearned to be an essential part of the world, to love it passionately, to be in touch and feel it like the sensitive skin of her own adolescent body. So too, as she lay amongst the giant ferns, listening to the screeching of the macaws, and breathed in the psychedelic cocktail of rogue bioattacks and flooded chemical plants that rolled in waves of fog off the Thames, she dreamt that one day she would grow a boy in her garden. She would watch him dance like the birds of paradise courting beneath the trees, and lay mutant eggs in secret nests. She would watch him fall in love with her without knowing why, as if hypnotized by the wand of an invisible magician. Her creation would exist just for her, as a new species in a new world. By constant exposure, her thoughts and dreams began to melt into this secret and luscious garden, imprinting her essence upon it. Like a doting gardener, she would nurture this Renaissance boy, so that he would naturally love this gardenscape as though it was part of himself, and in so doing become her true lover, or maybe her only son. Perhaps he would meet other girls, but he would never be allowed to know who they really were. He would love them like the jasmine and lilies that suffused the garden with their heady perfumes, or like the feral Siamese cats that hunted amongst the undergrowth, lusting for the blood of fledgling birds, all integral parts of her expanding mindscape. However, what emerged as the succulent dreams of a terminally lonely child were later to explode like seed pods buried in a barren wasteland and awakened by the flood of ever-rising seas. Perhaps it was that the ancestral burial chambers in the lava tubes of Mars were revealing the culmination of their dreams, desperately trying to escape the millennia of dust and decay. as Marie stretched out her arms with an eerie cry to the howlermongers, swimming in the canopy above. Her golden eyes stared intently into the shadowlands that constantly flickered and moved so strangely beneath the boughs of ancient oaks, and the yet unexplored depths of the seething jungle floor.